Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all good. Welcome to our today's session in our normal Mental Health Tuesday, whereby today we are going to discuss about parents. It's a long holiday. Are we struggling to connect with our children? Actually, it's a question regarding the recent situation that we are in. And today we're going to dive into this theme so that we can understand a lot of factor determining the whole topic on matters of connecting with our kids, reminding that it's a long holiday and we need to see how we're going to connect with our children. And if we have these struggles of how we are connecting with our children, our guest speaker is going to take us through. I would like to introduce our today's speaker by allowing him to come in and tell us who he is, what is he doing, and what are his areas of expertise. Karibu sana, Muhammad.
Asante sana brother Mahmoud, and what a pleasure kwamba today we are discussing this topic. My name is Muhammad Ali Machausa. Mimi ni mshirikishi wa shirika la Samba Sport Youth Agenda, na katika shirika la Samba Sports masuala ya mental health ama wellness ni katika masuala ambayo kwamba tunavalia njuga sana. So I may not be an expert. I think I'm a jack of all trades. I have a thing or two that we may be able to share today around wellness, and especially when it comes to the engagement between parents and their children. So that's me.
Thank you, our today's speaker, Muhammad Ali, our AD Samba Sport Youth Agenda. To my dear listeners, we have a chance to ensure that we engage fully in our today's session. So feel free, everyone should feel free to share the experience, tips, and also ask questions, because together, let's find the ways how we're going to make this holiday a time of growth, fun, and connection with our kids, and how we're going to guide them. So feel free. There's a call chat there. You can send in your message and I'll read to our speaker so that they can answer, or we can give it as an insight. And if you are that much touched, you can raise up your hand and give us your insight or a question. Back to you, our guest speaker. Why did you choose this topic for today?
Well, asante sana. It's no secret that parents, while they very much love to have their children at home, they are also very scared to have children during long holidays, kwa sababu katika fikra za wazazi wanasema mtoto anapokuwa shule, at least is someone watching over them all the time, lakini anapokuwa nyumbani during holiday then inakuwa ni changamoto, because the relationship between the parents and the child, instead of being cemented during the holidays where they have more time together, it is the time when that relationship worsens, because the child does not seem to understand the parent and the parent does not seem to understand the child. And there is always that fear that I am not sure whether my child is in the right hand, has gone to the right place. I don't know what they are thinking and all that. So this topic is momentous in that we've just gotten in the long holiday, especially for those lower primary learners, and we are getting into another holiday for those who will be finalizing their KCSE, and there are those high school learners who are not Form 4s who are already home also. And a lot of these young people, you find that they are ranging within the age of maybe 9 to 17, 18, which is a very, very difficult age for parents to manage. So that's why we picked on this topic, and we are hoping that by sharing on this platform today, we may assist one or two parents to, I would say, engage better with their children, and maybe to cement a better relationship between them and their children. Mahmoud.
Asante sana kwa kuweza kuboresha na kutueleza zaidi kinagaubaga kuhusu uchaguzi wako wa mada hii ya leo katika mazungumzo haya ambayo tupo nayo. Na tukizingatia kuwa hapa tunazungumzia watu wawili wakuu. Hapa tupo na mzazi na tupo na mtoto, na huyu si mtoto tu, bali ni mtoto ambaye yupo katika lile daraja la adolescence. Je, nikirudi kwako na fikiria, what are the factors that are affecting these parents when it comes to child relationship during their adolescence?
Asante Mahmoud. Swali lako linasema what are the factors affecting parents during the age of adolescence? But I would also want to throw back again the question and say, what are the factors affecting also the children in their relationship with their parents, especially when they are approaching adolescence or when they are in the difficult transition of adolescence? So maybe before I answer, I would request that we share some of our experiences. What are the kind of difficulties that we face as parents, especially when we are handling children who are during the adolescence ages? What are some of the challenges that we face, especially when we are handling children who are during the adolescence stage, or who are in their ages of adolescence? Maybe Mahmoud, before we continue, I would like to share one or two things with there's a brother or a sister called Kitel Felix. Can we see your face, please? Kitel, can you hear us? Okay, Mahmoud, we can continue. My conscience was not very at peace with that colleague, so I had to let him leave. So, is there anything we want to share? What are some of the challenges that we face as parents, or we as when we were during our adolescence? What were some of the issues that we had with our parents? Maybe one or two sharings, and then we continue. Kuna wazazi hapa wapo na adolescents. Ben, Cephas, naona huko mbali sana. Dr. City, nimemuona mahali.
Yes, Mohammed and the team, just a matter of experience in adolescence. There was a time I was handling quite a number of them. As much as nilipata ya kwamba boys were more stubborn, but girls were more vulnerable in terms of their behavior at that point. Wengi wanataka kujua mambo mapya. To a point ya kwamba kukusikiza na kuamini yale mnayomwambia, anataka afanye practical. Iwe ni mabaya, anataka ajionee na akatesti yeye mwenyewe. Ukijaribu kumpa mwelekeo, yuko tayari aidha kuchukua huo mwelekeo na afanye vile anavyotaka yeye, wala sio vile umemuadvise. So one of the most challenging things ni in terms of getting advice na kutumia vile wanavyopewa. Hii ni changamoto kubwa sana. Asante. Wacha niwaachie wengine.
Asante sana Cephas. That is a very, very interesting observation, which is part of what we will be sharing. Anybody else? Ima had her hand up. Unfortunately, she exited. We hope she can come back. Anybody else? You could be you and you want to share your experiences when you were an adolescent. Yes, Dr. City, what is your experience?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You're hearing me well?
Very well, ma'am.
I think I will share my personal experience when I was a teenager. My parents divorced when I was in high school, and before even the divorce, it was a very toxic marriage. And as a teenager, couldn't. I didn't know whom I should turn to. Considering that your age, you have a lot you want to know, you have a lot you want to ask, but for me there was no one who could listen to me, who was available for me. I kept so many things to myself, and you learn from peers, and you can imagine learning so many things, adult things from peers. So it was more of like trial and error, but I managed. So I can say I was one of the unfortunate or fortunate kid. It depends on how you view it. But based on what I experienced as a teenager, now I wouldn't want my kids to experience that. That's why I'm always available for them.
Aha. Asante sana daktari, and I hope you are available enough, because you thinking that you're available, we are not sure whether they think you are that much available. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the complexes that we are handling as parents with
yeah.
children in their adolescence. Asante sana daktari, and thanks for being vulnerable and trusting us with your story. Alice.
Okay, hi everyone, good evening. Okay, for me, I would like to share my story. Time I was an adolescent. So for me, I can say like ile stage yangu ya kwa adolescent, it wasn't easy. Nilikuwa naishi na nyanya. Na nyanyangu alikuwa ni mtu, wale watu wa kitambo wale ambao like hawajui hizi vitu ya hii era ambayo tuko sasa. So mimi kila kitu ambayo nilikuwa napitia kama an adolescent ilikuwa siwezi mwambia, kwa sababu hata nikimwambia hata nielewa. So kila kitu kama ilikuwa like I'm menstruating, hata siwezi nikamwambia kwa sababu pia hajui pad ni nini. So like everything ambayo unafaa kumkimbilia mzazi wako ukamwambie like maybe nimeanza kumenstruate, what do I do, like all those sort of things. Mimi sikuwa na mtu ambaye ningeweza kumkimbilia nikamwambia hizo vitu. So hizo vitu zote nimekuwa nabeba mimi mwenyewe kwenye mgongo wangu. So like that's just how my adolescent life was. Yeah. And I hope wazazi ambao tuko hapa tukuwe responsible. At least hawa watoto wetu ambao tuko nao wasipitie vitu ambazo sisi wengine tulipitia tukiwa teenagers. Yeah, asante.
Asante sana, Alice. Thanks for being vulnerable and trusting us with your story. Can we hear maybe a fourth one, final one, and then we delve into what we have prepared?
Yes, Mohammed. Can I take the chance?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. Me, I was in constant trouble during school holidays, more than when schools were open. And most of the time I didn't really even want like schools zifunge. Manake nilikuwa kwa matatizo mengi sana na wazazi. They didn't trust that I could go and play alone na mambo kama hayo. Kwa saizi, as a parent and as a parent of even teenagers na other small kids, I'm facing quite a lot of, I would say, challenges because the society is not so safe for the children today. We do not have like really good role models around. Wakati wanapoondoka hujui anaenda kukaa na akina nani. Zile sehemu ambavyo anaenda kucheza zingine ziko mbali kiasi, so you are never sure, do you allow them to go and play or what do you do? Kwa saizi, kwa mfano kama sina mtandao kwa nyumba, then pia inakuwa ni matatizo kwa sababu atakuja kuambia tumeboeka, wacha tuende tukafanya nini, tukacheza na marafiki. So it's quite challenging, and thank you for this topic because it's actually a very important topic. 2 months is not a joke, na kwa saizi ndio tunasikia ile mizigo walimu wamekuwa wakisikia kwa zaidi ya miezi mitatu kila muhula. Thank you.
Asante sana Brother Ben, and I want to appreciate everyone who has shared, because everything that you have shared is exactly what is happening with every other parent and every other child out there who feels they need more space. So we are talking about connections. Are we losing the grip with our children as parents? And the reason we are losing the grip, some of them you have mentioned, some I will top up. One of the things that make us lose the grip, and in fact, before I go into the reasons, I want to disseminate research that we did with the ASRI program, where we were dealing with adolescents, boys and girls in various villages, and also dealing with parents. On the one side, it was overwhelming result that adolescents are saying our parents do not understand us. As in rubber stamp, wazazi hawatuelewi. That is what the adolescents were saying. And on the other side, the parents were saying, hawa watoto hawaeleweki, hatujui wanataka nini. So on the one side, the children feel our parents do not understand us. And on the flip side, the parents say, hatukawafanyia nini, hawakai kama wanashukuru, as in we don't know what they want. And these are the reasons why. One, then your child is growing away from your grip. When the child was a baby, unambeba, unamweka kwa kifua, unambusu, unamshumu, unamrusharusha. That was then. Akiwa miaka 2, miaka 3, umeanza kumtuma chumvi, umeanza kumtuma kichana, umeanza kumtuma shanuo, umeanza kumtuma maji, and they were very happy with you because you were the only appetitive element in their lives. They were within their 4 walls, and you. Come the time they start going to school, they start journeying around other relationships. So the moment the child atapenda rafiki kule shule, akija nyumbani anaanza kukuambia, dadi, mimi ningependa kwenda kucheza na mtu fulani. O dadi, mtu fulani alisema hivi leo. Dadi, so these stories start from year 4, year 5, year 6. What you do not know is that they are developing interests outside the house. And if you are not careful, you are competing with the outside environment. If the friends are more exciting out there, if the friends are more accommodating, if the friends are more validating, then definitely this child is growing out of your grip and appreciating so much the outside world than the inside world. They only come back home because there's shelter, there's food, and there's clothing. Otherwise, wangekwama huko nje. So all you need to do is to appreciate that and see, even as they make new friends, what more appetitive do you create around the house so that they even get attracted in the house as they are attracted outside the house. So that is 1. 2, the children have found new allies and excitement out there. Ashajua kumbe Nikitaka biskuti tamu, there's a friend who takes me to that shop ambao nitapata biskuti tamu. My dad tells me nisikule peremende, but nikitaka kula peremende, my friend takes me to a certain place, nitakula peremende na baba hatojua, or mama hatojua. If I want to experiment this and that and the other, I have an ally somewhere who will help me address my curiosity or quench my thirst, ambapo kwa nyumba sitopewa. So that's another thing. Even if there are things you do not want your child to do you explain it to them in detail so that they can reason and say, you know what? You are my friend, but my dad told me not to do this. He told me I should not eat sweets because science says nikipenda kula sweet nitaharibika meno yangu na mimi sipendi kuwa na meno mabaya. You know, that's something that they are holding. But if you can them just for taking sweets and you don't give them the reason why they should not be taking sweets, reason that they can accept and own, then you are slowly chasing them away from home because unakataza vitu sweet ama vitu tamtamu yet uko nje wanapewa. Third, your child is finding alternative support, even if what you are calling alternative support is not better, is not healthy. When you are too busy at work, when you have no time for them, kukuja niona simu yako, unaweka vipindi zile unataka, na zile vipindi unataka labda za Nickelodeon or whatever, hawatuangalia because you want to watch your football or you want to watch your soap opera. Na there's a kipindi ambacho anakitaka lakini anajua kwa jirani, kwa rafiki fulani akienda atakuwa na full time ya kuziwatch. My friend, that child is finding alternatives zenye ananyimwa kwa nyumba anazipata in that other place. All right? As they grow, age 8, age 9, towards age 10 and 11, they start interacting with levels of independence. Kwamba I could not walk, so my dad would hold me. Tukisafiri, lazima niweke kwa lap. But now I can walk to school and back, or I can hike the school bus na niende na nirudi. Other day, niliachwa nyumbani peke yangu na nani, na house help, na niliondoka nikaenda 2 kilometers away to my friend and nikarudi bila shida. So it means I am good enough, I am old enough to be independent. All right? The other time, Uncle so and so gave me 50 shillings, and the same way, Dad sometimes brings me a packet of mkebe wa yogurt. I also went to buy my own yogurt with money that was given by this uncle or that other. You know, these are levels of independence ambazo wanaanza kuinteract nazo. The more they feel that level of independence, the more they feel that they need you less than they used to, you are in trouble. You have to change your expectations on them. You have to change your language on them. You have to change their perception of them. Otherwise, they are going to view you as a terrorist in the house and they would want to be as far away from you all the time. Kwa sababu you are limiting their independence. Another factor, and that is what irritates parents, is that parents feel they are losing control. Hiyo time yote kumwambia nitakutandika, ananyamaza. Kumwambia don't take that, ananyamaza. But as they grow up, they're interacting with many things. When I realize they have this right and that other one, they are realizing madrasa ameambiwa, okay, kuvuta bangi ni mbaya, kunywa pombe ni mbaya, but for as long as it's not bangi or pombe, they can do, na kwa Mungu hajafanya dhambi, na ni kitu ambacho wewe haujapenda, but for as long as madrasa amesema si dhambi, then they can do it. So some of these things need a lot of explanation, a lot of, I would say, romance with your children. Otherwise, they feel as if you are cocooning them for nothing. And the more they realize, the other time watunyima hii na mwalimu madrasa haikuambiwa ni shida, the other time ametunyima hii na madrasa ameambiwa si shida, the other time ametunyima hii, Because madrasa hautuambiwa don't be out of home by 6. There's no Quran that says a child must be home by 6, but it is an etiquette ya kumprotect. So for as long as that language ya kumwambia si awe nyumbani by 6 na hujamweleza kwa nini, na what dangers they will be following them if they did not adhere to that, and yet ustadh hajasema kwamba that ni mbaya, and yet the pastor hakusema kuwa nje by 6 haija kuwa condemned in the Bible. My friend, they start thinking you are imposing unnecessary rules on them because the level of independence imejengeka. Another thing, it's an element of power play. As they grow towards adolescence, the changes, wameanza kuwa na voice kubwa kama wewe, wameanza kuwa na soprano kama wewe ni mother, wameanza kuwa na hips, wameanza kupigiwa mbinja huko nje, wanajiona they are wielding power because now they are attracting more constituencies than before. So even as you talk to them, please just understand I have my own fans. Hata mimi kuna watu wenye napendezwa na mimi nikitembea na nipigia mbinja wananiitisha na all that. So there's a power play that much as you are my parent, when I come here, please have decorum in the way you are communicating with me. Because ukianza kunichukua kama mtoto na mimi si mtoto tena, hata mababa wenye wanaendesha magari zao wameanza kunipigia mbinja, bana, unafaa kila mtu akae kwa lane yake. So these are the kind of thought processes that go through the children. Another one is parents, unfortunately, we think we are in control because ni sisi tunalipa karo, ni sisi tunanunua chakula, ni sisi tunapeana shelter, na sisi tunapeana nguo. But at that moment, as the social changes zinawasumbua, as the emotional changes zinawasumbua, as the social changes zinawasumbua, accompanied by the many physiological changes, my friend, food is not a priority to that adolescent child. Shelter is not a priority to that adolescent child. Mavazi is not a priority to that adolescent child. Their priority number one is to be validated, to be appreciated, to be heard. So the environment has changed from mami naomba chakula na njaa to mami naomba nguo nzuri to mami mimi nitalala wapi to mami hata kama hatakuambia nakwambia hey please mama, I'm also becoming a woman, please let's have a better conversation. I need to be validated on my fears. Uwezi kunisonya maana mimi ni mtu mkubwa na uwezi kunisonya mbele ya watoto wadogo. These are the conversations that zinabaki kwa vifua vyao hata kama hawawaambii, but alafu zina damage the relationship between you and your child. Your child desire to be understood, especially on the changes that happen to them, on the fears that they harbor, on the dreams that seem so far-fetched because they don't feel supported enough, and on the social pressure that is already mounting on them wakiwa huko nje, na huku ndani wakija pia wewe unaekea pressure ingine. That is how they look at us. I don't know whether I'm talking to a constituency here. Can I hear people give me feedback? Mahmoud, over to you.
Yes, thank you, our guest speaker. They always say ukisikia kimya kimetanda ujue ujumbe umefika. Na ulivyotangulia ulisema wewe si gwiji kwa maongezi haya, lakini nitapongeza fursa uliyotumia kujiandaa kupatia maongezi haya. Wanasema the topic is so valuable and we are getting it well from Biasha side. I see Tiffany's hand is up, Abigail's hand is up. Let's start with Tiffany. Karibu Tiffany.
Thank you, Mahmoud, for this opportunity to speak. Also, Mohammed, thank you so much. It was quite a good talk you've done. And as you were talking, I was also remembering my days when I was young. And there's this part where you've said sometimes when we were kids, we used to, venye tumezoea kutaniana kule nje na our friends, or the lingo we used with our friends, or the tone when we were playing with our friends, somehow it used to come and translate back to the house. And I think it used to happen subconsciously. And it would really piss my mom off. She'd even go to the point of saying, mimi usiniongeleshe hivyo, mi si kina Eva. Eva was my friend. So I was like, why is she coming at me like that? But it was very subconscious. So as you've said, it needs some understanding from the parents to understand, okay, this child is at this stage and this is how you handle this stage of a child and how to correct such behavior. So yeah, thank you. This is a great information. Wengine wetu kama sisi bado hatujafungua hiyo chapter, but I think when we get there and we'll be able to use these informative tips that you've given us to interact with our children. Thank you.
Asante sana, Madam Tiffany. Back to you. I saw Abigail's hand was up and also Sefa's hand was up. Abigail.
Thank you Mahmoud, and also Muhammad. Hizo madongo zinatufikia vizuri. The message is getting home. I was also reflecting on something that my daughter shared with me, and then it got me thinking. You know, she told me like, I always promise things and I don't fulfill. More so the moment you're trying to push some incentive, like if you perform well, I'll do this and this, and then things don't go the way you've planned. So to them, they're like, huyu anasema na hatendi. So to me, I thought it's not something big, you know. But to her, she took it as, huwa unasemanga vitu na haufanyi. So if I don't pass, don't ask me. So I just reflected on that also as a reason as to why sometimes kids behave in a different way, because also parents, we have contributed to that. So thank you so much, Mohammed, for that.
Asante. Mahmoud, allow me to get back to Abigail very quickly, because of course, because of our role that we play in the society, some parents bestow faith in us and they bring their children when they are very difficult, and we have to engage these children. And for me, I don't prescribe anything to anybody's child before I engage them for at least 4-5 hours, because I want to hear their story from their side, even without telling them umeaccused hivi. And one of those days, I will not mention whose child had the child. She was a lady, and a very powerful lady, mtu mwenye, and you see she's going places. And she was accused to be very difficult at home and erratic, you know. So in our conversation with her, she told me, unajua, my parents don't care. They don't care at all. And she cited one moment. I think she had just done her KCPE exams, and the parents were very scared that the secondary night atakuwa namna gani. And she talked to me about an incident that happened while she was in grade 4, class 4. Aliahidiwa bicycle by the dad, alafu hakupewa. I don't know, that case was not closed. So every other time they are talking to her and everything, you know, for those 4 years, kifua chake kimejaa kwamba mimi nilipromisiwa bike nikipita na nilipita na siku ninunuliwa. You get? And that anger haikuwahi toka, cause like they took me for granted. Mbona kama walikuwa wataki kunipatia, mbona asingeniambia fanya bidii, mbona nilidanganya kwa bike. They said hawana uwezo, you know. For that child, yeye hajui kama labda kuna issues za pesa na nini. Yeye anajua tu you just decided to play with their mind, and especially when they are in the adolescent stage. Remember, your broken promises don't go unnoticed. They can ruin your child's dream just because they linger on the vengeance proximity. They look at you as waongo, people who cannot be trusted, people who cannot be relied upon. So asante sana Abigail for bringing that up.
Thank you so much. There's a message here in the call chat from Sister Nancy saying, as they grow, young adults experiment with their identity, goals, and values. Validation gives them the confidence to trust themselves and their decisions, making them more independent and able to stand by their choices, things which we are learning at an older age. Ndio pale tunasema, if I knew this before I grew up, I could be better than who I am. There's a hand from Cephas here. Karibu Cephas.
Asante Mahmoud. I'm really touched with what Mohammed said about that our provision of food, shelter, clothing, and that is not the real power ambao watoto wanaangalia ndani yetu, lakini wanachoangalia muhimu zaidi that closeness, kuwa naye karibu na kumsikiza. I remember I have a 4-year-old son, and this son, he used to wet bed every day, every time. So I used to talk to him, but also understanding ya kwamba huyu bado ni mtoto. So one day he missed, hakuweza kuwet the bed. So I was very, very happy. Nikamwekea ahadi ya kwamba, you know, if you don't wet the bed, then I'll be giving you something, aka gift kidogo. So the first day, ikawa by luck, hakuwet the bed. I had to give him a gift of 10 shillings ili naye apate kununua kitu. The following day amekuja very early in the room. He was very excited ya kwamba hakukojoa. Came very early in the room. Akasema, daddy, look, sikukojoa. Then nikamwekea another 10 shillings as a motivation. But you know, imekuwa mpaka every day. Sasa hakojoi. And every day he would come very, very early in the morning in my room for the 10 shillings. So, hesabu ambayo sasa najaribu kupiga ama swali, the transition from the motivation ya kitu kidogo hii, alafu uweze kumwin off ya kwamba basi unaweza ukaendelea tu ya kwamba usikojoe hata without any motivation. That transition. So mi naomba ushauri for that transition. But this generation is completely different with a generation ambayo ilipitia like maybe 15 or 20 years ago, because we could be controlled by the shelter, we could be controlled. Ukiambiwa utalala wapi, so you have, lazima utii. Utakula nini, lazima utii. Utafanya nini, lazima utii. But this generation, they only want us to be very close. Sometimes they used to, the two boys wananiuliza maswali mingi. So one time I feel like I'm tired, I just want to brush them. You send them somewhere, but my friend, you send them, they will still wait you and come back with the same question. So we need to be very ready so that whatever these young people are struggling with, we give them the best answers. Thank you, Mohammed, for sharing this with us.
Asante sana Cephas. I was laughing because I was imagining you stop giving the 10 shillings anaenda kuwasha hiyo kitanda kabisa.
That is the worry.
This is a conversation that we need to have. You know, I can see Ben, his hand is up. We listen to him and then we move to the next one.
Yes, thank you, Mohammed, for such an insightful presentation. As you were speaking, someone contacted me from Citizen Media, and they will be having an express on a similar discussion. And they were asking if I would recommend someone, and you see, I want to request if it is okay that I give your contacts, so that we can cascade this conversation to the national level.
Thank you so much, brother. Let's talk about this after this meeting. But again, this is a conversation that is timely. This is a conversation that needs to be had. it's a conversation that is confusing so many people, and that's why even other people, the other side of the world, want to have a similar conversation. Asante sana. So Mahmoud, can we move on?
Yes, we can proceed. Actually, the discussion was so educative. But back to our question, we have seen all these effects and the challenges that parents and children relationship comes along with. Now, to my question, what could be the worst case scenario if the situation is not well handled? Whatever situation that we've been mentioning before, what are some of the worst case scenario that we might going to have when these situations are not well handled?
Asante sana. In the interest of time, what I will say is that of all these things we have said, the child needs space and time to express themselves. The more you allow them time to express themselves, the more they become lured to you, the more they build trust. The more you shut them off, the more you don't want them to speak, the more you judge them, then they will continue looking at you as a terrorist in the house. So what's going to happen? When you block their mouth in the house, they are competing for love out there. So some certain things can happen. One, wanaweza ambiwa kama unaogopa kumwambia baba yako ukiwa soba, ukivuta bangi unaweza kumwambia bila kuogopa. And my friend, you do not know the expletives ambazo watakwambia kama amekubali kuvuta bangi waje wakuambie, because they will tell you stuff you will regret ever hearing from your own child. But it's because they knew hawezi ongea wakiwa soba, na wakiwa soba ujua watachagua maneno, but kama they are intoxicated they'll say everything from their hearts. So that's one of the things. The other thing is that they look at the house as a backup to their survival, but they create another home away from home. So wanakuwa na maskani yao ama kwa friends ama kwa uncle ama kwa friend's house ambako sasa anachukua vitu za kule. If those people there wanakomunitiwa vizuri, na yeye pia anataka kuwa kwa hiyo family, you never know what your child is being taught outside your house. And I don't think any parent would want their children to be guided outside their own house, because everyone has their own etiquette. You never know jirani etiquette zake ni gani na hata intention zake ni gani kwa mtoto wako. So kama anakomunitiwa sana na jirani, ujue there's danger. They can sodomize them, they can rape them, they can abuse them in any wanton level of abuse, because then the moment they win trust ya mtoto wako kwa mtu mwingine ikizidi kuliko kwako, then remember chochote watakachoambiwa huko atakubali kuliko wewe. So many things can happen out there. You only come to realize you lost the war of love wakati kumeharibika. Either ni mimba imekuja, ama your child has been sodomized, ama the child disowns you, vitu kama hizo. So what do we do? Maybe sasa tumaliza kwa sababu muda umekwenda sana. Tufanyeje ndio tuhakikishe kwamba tuna avoid hizi maafa yote baina ya sisi na watoto wetu? One is that we need to understand that the parenting landscape has evolved. Mtoto wako ame-evolve from yule mtoto mwenye unamweka kwa kifua ukimrengarenga asipigwe hata na upepo wa feni, to someone who can do many things on their own. All they need is your blessings and your advice. So the moment you understand that, you will have a conversation that is convenient with them. When your child is 4 years, 6 years, you can still send them bread and sugar. But when your child is 10 years, anaanza kujiambia mimi si mtoto tena. So they expect you to ask them about their feelings, about the weather. What do you think about the weather? What do you think leo tukule nini? What do you think kule shambani tupande nini? Even if you don't need their advice, you just show them that now wame graduate from kutumwa maji, kutumwa sukari, to being sought on their opinion. At that level, your child needs their opinions to be heard. Even if they are stupid opinions, they need to be heard. So it is for you to hear them, ndio uzicorrect. Na kama umezifungia hauzisikii, how are you going to correct those opinions? All right? So parents need stellar skills and strategies ambazo wanaweza kuzitumia kuweza kudhibiti watoto wao wenyewe wasi compete na love kule nje. The other thing is we need to promote loving and warm relationships. Ask your child what are their likes. What would they become? What would they like to become? What are their normal fears? Ni kitu gani labda kinawatatiza katika maisha yao? Ni mipango gani wamejiwekea kama watoto ili kwamba waweze kuachieve dreams zao? These are the kind of conversations that are going to build that trust between you and your child. And sometimes you do these conversations when the level playing field iko vizuri. You may have darts in your house, unapiga darts hapa na pale, unamwambia baba, what do you think? Wewe ungependa kuwa nini? Maana wewe hujaniambia hizi siri zako. Unaambia nani siri zako? Jokingly. Mnacheza draft pale, mnacheza Scrabble na mtoto wako, you know, mnaangalia kipindi ambacho kiko safe, na baba unaona jamaa, unaona vile amefanya, si ingekuwa hatari sana kwa wengi, kwa wewe ungefanya namna gani? Seek their opinion, show them that you are looking at them as near equals, kuliko kusema wewe ni mtoto tu, umetoka shule, ni wewe na vitabu, kama si vitabu endo kalala. You don't even tell them there is time that I want nikija kutoka kazini nikuwe na wewe uniambie vitu mbili tatu zenye unajihisi. All right? Very important at that moment, your child has very many fears. You may not be able to solve all of them, but just validate them that I know at this moment kuna vitu vinakuchanganya kama kijana ambaye kwamba unapea. Would you care to maybe let me know some of them? You think I can help? You offer stuff like that. Ni mtoto wako, ndio wewe ni babu kubwa. Hata mke wako anaonekana una ndevu nyeupe, yeye zake hana. So do not reinforce it kwamba mimi ni baba na wewe ni mtoto. Everybody knows in the world kwamba wewe ni baba na wewe ni mtoto. So do not rub it on them. Show them that love, that affection, that closeness, that care. Hiyo inaenda kusaidia. Focus on the soft needs. Do not over focus on the food, the shelter, and the clothing. Mimi nakulipia karo, so what? Mimi nakununulia chakula, so what? Mimi nakununulia nguo, so what? At this moment, it is the soft issues ambazo zinawahusu. Their social lives, their emotional issues. You know, the fact that there are so many changes around them na zinawapatia, zinawascare. Maybe they have their dream na naona labda grades zake haziendi vizuri. What are you going to do? So these are some of the conversations that you focus. Don't just focus, mimi nakununulia chakula kila siku, pesa zangu napoteza, you know, nakulipia karo, napoteza pesa zangu. You know, when you are more emotional, haiwasaidii, they depart. Wanakuwa more distant. When in need of a session, maybe to talk to them. Maybe kuna kitu umefanya kibaya na unahitaji kumuongelesha. Come slowly. Usingoje chakula kimeiva, kimepakuliwa, unaanza kumuongelesha. Atakosa kula hiyo chakula na ataona kwa sababu unanunua chakula ndio unambelittle. Hatokula na hatofeel anything. If you have something that you need to talk to them, I know it's difficult sometimes, you are raging with anger. Mwache akule and behave as if nothing has happened. Bring them closer. Start with a very convenient conversation. Niaje leo mmetoka, mnasema mmeenda beach leo. Okay, how was it? Ukifika mahali unasema ni kweli, lakini sasa mama, kuna kitu naomba tuongee mimi na wewe. Chenye akija nipendeza. On nini daddy? Kuna kitu fulani mimi akija nipendeza. Hiyo time maybe ni wewe na mama yake, ama ni wewe na baba yake, or ni just you and that person. Unamaliza tu na kitu kama hichi, hata ule mwenzako mdogo akiiga kutoka kwako, hapa hakutokuwa na nyumba. Tutapata aibu huko nje because vitu kama hizo na madhara. As in, let them understand, pia wajue kwamba umewastiri nje ya macho ya wengine. But if you just explode like a volcano, ukiingia kwa nyumba, ni nani jina ilichukua pesa zangu? You know, they feel like you are so belittling them na wanakuwa more distant. And I know as parents sometimes our anger is inevitable, it is inatokota, and unataka tu ukiingia pale ujulikane simba ameingia. But if you behave like a lion in your own house, your children will behave like antelopes, and lions and antelopes do not share the same shelter. I think mpaka pale Mahmoud, time imekwenda. I know there is more to share, but time pia imekwenda. Tunaweza hifadhi zingine for another time. Over to you, Mahmoud.
Asante sana our guest speaker of today for today's session. Before I do the wrap-up closure, I would like to take myself to the culture. Hamisi has given us an insight. It came to my realization that the county I was schooling in campus had the most street children countrywide. This was when I was conducting my social research on effects of parental negligence of juvenile delinquents. And another possible effect is that parental negligence can contribute to a lack of social skills and an inability to cope with stress. Children who are neglected by their parents may struggle to form healthy relationships with peers and authority figures, which can increase their likelihood of engaging in delinquent behavior. Additionally, parent negligence can contribute to a lack of supervision and guidance, which can increase the likelihood of delinquent behavior. From Hamis, I could say this was an insightful session, and I'm pleased with the grateful remarks of Hamisi Hindi, and I'm going to use them as the closure of our today's session. Mine is just to say thank you, our guest speaker, for your time, and all who were in this call room for today's discussion. I say I'm grateful. Let's meet here again next Tuesday, the same time, so that we can discuss more and more, either on the same topic or a more advanced topic on the same. Wish you a blissful night, and may God bless you, protect you against the evil eye. Amen.